the first to know Nsem-Pii TV.
Asemo. Suspended Chief Justice Gertrude Torkonoo procedure to remove a committee of inquiry Ejuma. The numerous cases being filed at Supreme Court challenging the constitutionality of Nneoma Ekosi said the bayonet will be tra asem foforo. And the Supreme Court kwasitra on two different cases. Baako a case presented by census no challenging the constitutionality of 1, the suspension of the Chief Justice, 2, the formation of the Committee of Inquiry, 3, procedures with which I am also remove the Chief Justice. Na sa census no nipa odi animu Dr. James Kwabena Bonfe ya do na fa the General Kabila omulusu by a 4-1 majority decision. Case number 2 enso private Ghanaian citizen by name Theodore Akwa ya no also challenge the constitutionality of the mampanyina yeri quoting certain articles of the Constitution. This same 5-member panel also rule 4-1 majority the case. Tinache say some section of the NDC omodo believe say chenchira Chief Justice in free ho is an say His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo bi di tia ECD na say ni dia no mu ebose etwi momome. They are laughter being cut short pine. Nipa nkasa cases ya ekoba nyina fa ne ho. The main person at the center of attraction, the suspended Chief Justice herself, Akasa. Now, the suspended Chief Justice Kasa Wakasa say, Ono Akasa abawura Supreme Court. Ako file an injunction to halt Presidential Committee of Inquiry no krana ekoswo. Her ladyship, Justice Gertrude Torkonoo, because onimra, onwaye Chief Justice pen, onimra, onim said ye di no nyina mra so. Ti wono ankasa tabiri asem no e dia bawura Supreme Court say sa committee na commission of inquiry no a Justice Gabriel Palman e dia animu ye obi te say Daniel Domelovo e mo ka ho no yemfa injunction ento omo dwumadi so. Now interestingly of filing legal documents no 5:00 p.m. enne na all filing document no why you omu nyina so defendant. The defendant number 1 Attorney General. Defendant number 2 Justice Gabriel Scott Palman ya waka committee no. Defendant number 3 Samuel Kwame Adibuasiedu onuka committee no. Defendant number 4 Daniel Yaudomelevo former Auditor General oka committee no. Defendant number 5 Major Flora Bazanura Dalugu oka committee no. And the defendant number 6 Professor James Faziza omu nyina wa yo defendant. Now your motion no her ladyship Justice Gertrude Torkonoo or requested say 1 Supreme Court and restraining committee composed of 6 defendants from continuing any proceedings or actions relating to the inquiry into the 3 petitions seeking her removal. The actions of the committee able to me prejudice the outcome of the main case before Supreme Court to cry in yankai. Enti osha rate of sermons no mame enkenkan enkotu kotu niema ni bi na yente ye ho ase. O say 1 an order restraining the committee set up by the president to inquire into 3 petitions against the plaintiff, composed of the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th defendants, from proceeding with an inquiry, the execution of the terms of reference of the committee, or taking any action in connection with the purported determination of a prima facie case made against the plaintiff until the hearing and final determination of the instant action. 2. An order restraining the 2nd and 3rd defendant. 2nd defendant no the Attorney General. 3rd defendant no the head of the committee from presiding over or participating in proceedings of the committee appointed by the president to inquire into 3 petitions purportedly presented for the removal of the plaintiff as Chief Justice of the Republic until the hearing and final determination of the instant action. 3. An order suspending the operation of the warrant for suspension of the Chief Justice purportedly issued by the President under Article 146 Clause 10 of the Constitution 1992 until the hearing and final determination of the instant action. Enti ha mi kire mu a, apart from say was a court for injunction and to committee na dwuma mo yeso. Court for injunction and to the second respondent, Attorney General, says our case you kura on some mobile no. The also seeking say court on sign and suspend suspension warrant ayede ato no so as Chief Justice until say yet the final determining case with the Supreme Court. Any further orders added to this honorable court may seem meet. Now, interestingly, Nipa all representing her ladyship, Justice Gertrude Araba Esaba Torkonoo, ewo sa case ya wono ankasa file no, the former Attorney General Godfrey Diabodame. The better time, a better mind, say Chiwingam. The way any the breaking news, a free Supreme Court, Aba, a Nadia, the main actor in the hands of affairs in this case. The leadership Justice Gertrude Torkonoo say there be. We do no anka say Bowura Supreme Court because no so nimra. Supreme Court of injunction and to committee no so. Say committee no cry mom yadwuma. Supreme Court of injunction to Attorney General so. Supreme Court and sign and share the suspension no. Any quiet suspension the fast so. Then no so omo fata want to so. Say you suspended no as Chief Justice. Inti ye a bra Supreme Court beshe ediatna this substantive case between a leadership Justice Gertrude Araba Saba Saki Torkonoo and 6 plaintiffs, namely the Attorney General Justice Gabriel Scott Palmer, Justice Samuel Kwame Adibwasiedu, Daniel Yawodu Melevo, Major Flora Bazenura Dalugu, and a Professor James Sefa Zisa. Now I was
presided by the acting Chief Justice, His Lordship Justice Paul Bafuboni. And then we also had Justice Isifu Umoro Tanko Amadu.
Sure.
There was Justice Yoni Kolendi and Justice Henry Anthony Kofi.
Okay.
And then Justice Yao Atare Dako.
Okay.
Now, omutie argument lawyers no emeki you know. Omu come out with a majority 4-1 decision. I just say Asemna Yadibeda in court no, it was meritorious. And into you dismiss no as such. Omu here you know. It's and I almost afraid the second case court and then that was what we had in mind Senka. That was the one filed by Theodore Kofi Atakwe.
Yes.
Who among other things, asked the court to place an interlocutory injunction also on the committee constituted by the president to potentially remove the Chief Justice from office. Now, Sir Plaintiff, he also asked the court, to suspend the operationalization of the warrant of suspension President now issue against the Chief Justice under Article 146(10)(a) of the 1992 Constitution. Now, it was their case that warrant, before the President can exercise that discretion, I say instrument be APA, I say Eco Parliament. Not Parliament, they consider it within some 21 days before the President will or can arrogate those powers to himself, for want of a better word, to issue that particular warrant. In the absence of that instrument, argument, they say, President, one far so and all they suspend the Chief Justice, and then, the court should place again an interlocutory injunction pending the substantive matter itself. And also, no court, no, on a brief recess, they pronounced a 4-1 majority decision. HSA Assembly is unmeritorious, and those applications or that particular application was also dismissed by the 5-member panel.
Okay, now and also the same 5-member panel now.
Exactly the same 5-member panel.
Okay.
Theodore case no so no. The organization also case no so. The Center for Center.
Yes.
I can't really recall
census. You're trying to kind of census. That's the center. Center for Citizenship, Constitutional and Electoral Systems. Omo penny or down no the executive director of that center no Dr. James Kwabena Bonfe and the organization.
Yeah. And yes. Just to chip in this one, so in the argument of Dr. Bonfe lawyer, he made the claim that the president has not given copies of the prima facie determination to the Chief Justice. But that particular case, now Chief Justice I am suspended or no, and also for a lawyer. The lawyer Kwabena Edukusi, or no representing Chief Justice Dame Torkonoo, because it is clear that the suspended Chief Justice, on any case, it doesn't align really with the case of the state. Into the Attorney General, in the sense of the suspended Chief Justice, Attorney General cannot represent her.
Yeah, but
the lawyer ever court.
Yeah, but more so, so we share the writ before the court now. Her ladyship Gertrude Araba Isaba Sakitokono, a party to this case. On a second defendant.
Second defendant.
Yeah, once a party, she should be represented in court, and that's why the lawyer, echo,
Until Attorney General no representative, chairman of the committee now, president are established.
Okay.
That is Scott Poorman. And also representing the Attorney General.
Who as the Attorney General?
So Dr. Justice Nsem-Pii and I represent Dr. Dominic Ayine.
Okay.
I'm raising this point because there was a stark contrast between, initially that was how it appeared.
Okay.
Between the argument of the lawyer for the organization and lawyer for the suspended Chief Justice. Because, again, the lawyer for the organization made a point that the president has not furnished the suspended Chief Justice with copies of the prima facie determination. Now, lawyer Kwabena Edukusi, during Onone argument, he made the case that, in fact, there has not been any prima facie determination as far as his camp is concerned.
As far as the suspended Chief Justice is concerned?
Yes, as far as Ono lawyer is concerned, there has not been any prima facie determination made by the president. So, raised some concerns among the panel. Because Onono Nick client, and Onu Nankasa as lawyer, almost say they entirely support the position of the lawyer representing the plaintiff. Omo support to plaintiff no e court. Na plaintiff nankasa ka say president hasn't furnished the suspended CJ with the prima facie determination. So you can interpret it to mean that so there's been a prima facie determination, but lawyer Kusinsu in a submission in Ekache court say as far as he is concerned there is no prima facie determination. He had to further explain in his explanation. Okache court and say if there were any prima facie determination, it would have found its way in the content of the communication between the executive secretary to the president and the suspended chief justice. Abra or letter or communication, a man say a prima facie case has been made, no, and he will give reasons for that, for the establishment of the prima facie. But in the absence of reasons, it renders the whole suspension unreasonable and arbitrary.
Okay.
Those were.
Anytime be a bit decided say ube use saka no for a different purpose and I'll bet on Ediamubiano ese utia duty na ya exempt no.
For a different purpose. Our exemption.
I mean okay me odi mami ida mami ko he ma sante kra.
Yeah, nka mi hu ye no. Ye ka me ya be ye ho.
Mami say a purpose or na say or say
finance ministry there no.
Finance or say any sale or transaction of the said vehicle to a third party shall attract the necessary taxes and duties. Nti asante obetimi ede eno ye abrosi asare in the trust akrata no.
Was it any sale or transfer of the said vehicle to a third party shall attract the necessary taxes and duties.
Okay, so I know a sale and a transfer.
Yes,
there's some judges are saying you don't know or the can be manual use a so side duty no.
And I can ya the man will say fire Juma. A bribe member of parliament.
Yes.
Can we some judge and you saw a bribe member of parliament within that period 4 years.
8 parliament.
8 parliament no. Moshadi. Ghana for MPP abai emo Juma.
Oh, na can no kwem fama asante no enya ka keto awo.
Let's just know.
Asante ye unregistered.
Yes, get dey hu no.
Very irresponsible member of parliament.
Yes.
Wukita car eye unregistered. Na DV plate no kra no.
Da be mo hu.
Na wasan edi motorcade.
Esa di animu. And what the year
can you register la motorcade?
And I can register no. Ye fa nya adwuma.
Onipa omu ade organa pa ba kwa Sam George.
Yes.
Pa of fa su didi Akufo-Addo. Ne papa Akufo-Addo ko betime nana. Any Dr. Bawumian didi o matem.
Ya numpo na ne papa enne ma mesa ate ho.
Yes.
Na wo didi. Ya no kwani say wo muwade.
Na odidi chief justice Torkonoo atem.
Yes.
In fact odidi obia atem Ghana.
Yes, including NPP for mo ho.
Oh yeah, very arrogant.
Hey. Arrogant personified. Kwaku tie.
Omuade.
Ai. Kwaku. Kano, she data. Omo de man letter the man no. 3rd January 2025. Abro say as I letter no. 3rd January 2025.
NDC and MPP lose election.
MPP lose election.
That's 4 days now.
That's na ku for the
4 days now. Omo baba mu.
Momo say Ghana ni hiani bana. Ya fa na dwuma ma you try the car 2000, 3000 no. Ya the letter by after 7 December. Mo say illegal. Chief of staff the trust akrata no. Ya yi omunyi na dem obi akotena fie ba wo de atwo krata ma 3rd January 2025 ama wo de na ye adwuma me pa cho moti ayi na se de
Yes.
Say ebi mu kwai mo atwo mo letter mo June and July 2024 oma yi omunyi na di wa adwuma Chief of staff atwo krata on the year was explaining say after 7 December.
Yes.
Me pacho secretary we join after 7 December 3rd January
2025.
that's another president Mahama kwana na wa plata de obese inauguration wa pama wi
oh na bibia na ye bibia
ya bibia wie na wo de ne de what me akwaje kwaku exemption na wo mu no almost $50,000 exemption no almost $50,000 almost $50,000 fabra Ghana sikem
ntimi ma no
I say Mahama like taxes kind of tree.
And then
I say I say car near 2024 Lexus XL600H limited edition.
Yes.
And I SOG.
Yes.
And the same
no fan so so
can mai
na just about 600,000 Ghana cedis so
le boy de che V8 na ma no Lexus America for so you know V8 no
we car mumunu
car that fo car when ye gum say kwaku na questions be Brazil busa no Ghana parliament amount $100,000 loan sefa koto car ubetue bi daga na ban so asa tue bi car we I more than is about $320,000 difference when you
also $200,000 also when you man also
you na show
$200,000 no ko find na
ko find no hefa vendor ben on the years transaction then because mo ya ho bebe akoto car no mo from vendors wo do mo fa ya lo mo do bi aden di aba mo cars we wo ha mo car we was betima to we amount it vendor ben e no ton sa car no e ma Sam George yenim enti so say o person o back frontal na we transparent dia you should be transparent with us on cheni nyina mu mi hu say e dey na since 2020 car na ntimi am
kana ma se koto car no ntimi anto car no
na this is 2025
say na zikana e ma no sama no enti wo pebi asoso na otwentwen ya na oba ba mu
Sam George
Omuadie.
Elder Sam George.
Sam George ni bu omuadie nti me mpena asem da.